Dear viewers, I welcome you to Lesson 3, which is the coastal plains of East Africa. I request you to look at this picture clearly. It can give you a clear understanding of what we're going to talk about in as far as the coastal features are concerned. We move on to the next slide. We are focusing on the learning outcomes that by the end of this lesson, we should be able to give the meaning of the coastal plain. We should also be able to describe the coastal plain of Africa. And here we are referring to the area around the whole of, when you look at the whole of African continent, the area where the sea or the ocean meets the land. Number 3, we should be able to suggest some of the features that are found within the coastal plain. And number 4, we should be able to identify some of the economic activities carried out in this area. So we are going to look at the different features which lie around the coast of Africa, and they are of different types which are formed as a result of submergence and emergence of the sea, or deposition and erosion formed. So in this lesson, you learn about the coastal plains, the features found within the coastal plain, the value of coral reefs, and the different economic activities which are carried out within the coastal plain. So step 1, I would like to request you to observe the landforms in your area where you stay. Try to describe those features in terms of height and depth. That means you need to move out a bit and look at the landforms in the area where you stay. Step 2, I'll request you to look at the land in your local environment and try to describe it. So that means you have to go out, look at the land where you are staying, try to describe it. And number 3, try to explain the general look of the coastal plain by giving examples of the coastal features found within the coastal areas. So you need to look at the different pictures which I'm going to show you and use those pictures to answer step 3. And step 4, give some of the problems faced by the people who live in the coastal plains. All right. This is also another picture of the coastal plains with different features. Most of them are erosional features, like see, this could be called the headland, this may be called the bay. There are different features that you can see around here. All right, giving you some summary notes that a coastal plain can be defined as a narrow zone between the sea and the land. And the coast of East Africa is made up of the coastal plain, while the coast of West Africa is made up of lagoon lakes. You may have to go back and look at the atlas and the map of Africa. You can replay this video that showed you the map of Africa. So this particularly, a feature like this could be found on the West African coast, where there could be a lagoon. A lagoon is a lake found just behind a sandy bar like this. So there are also different features that we can be able to find. Let's move on and talk about the coral reefs. So some areas of East Africa coastline have corals. Corals are rocks, and they are formed from sea creatures called polyps. So they are from formerly living organisms, but they turn into rocks, some kind of stones. But look at this picture here. I'll be able to describe them very, very well. And they are very important. So coral reefs have limestone. So they are sedimentary rocks. So they are used for making cement. They also attract tourists who bring in foreign exchange. We see people going to Mombasa, going to Tanga, going to Dar es Salaam, and those are tourists. So the economic activities carried out in the coastal plains include, you can mention some of them: fishing, tourism, mining, farming, lumbering, because there are some forests in that area also. So one of the main problems faced by the coral people living in the areas of coral reefs is that of challenges of transport, but you can also mention others. Take your time, mention some other challenges. As a follow-up activity, I request you to describe a coastal plain. Number 2, go ahead and suggest some of the materials used for building which are got from the coastal plains. And number 3, identify some of the work people who live in your environment do to get money. So take time to think creatively. And 4, copy the summary notes in your book. Draw the diagrams. Let's end with the one diagram here, which summarizes some of the features which are found in the coastal plain, both East Africa and West Africa.